We had a very rare instance of the fact that artifacts are buried with these last two burials, and the one we think who is Captain Gabriel Archer was buried with a captain's leading staff, was not in a coffin but in the grave, and a small silver box that turned out to be a religious reliquary. It had in it a broken holy water container known as an ampulla, and bone, and that's often put together to make a reliquary because the bones were said to be that of a saint.
We think this man is Captain Gabriel Archer. The evidence points to that. When we look at the bones, he's about 34. We put him in the age category 30 to 34 years of age. He has quite an interesting history. He came in 1607 with the first men. He became a counselor. He did go back to England, and then he came back again. And within that, some of the clues. He has some tooth wear. He's the one that has really the greatest problem with his teeth. Not that he lived long enough to have the pleasure of experiencing all of it, but he's got multiple teeth in different locations that are causing lots of problems and are headed for abscesses. And that actually, the problems that he has could be something that really contributed to his death. And of these four men, if it's who we are correct in our identification, he had the longest number of months spent on the island, and that may be actually a reflection of the poor status of his teeth. Corn, they learned from the Indians, and they picked that up lock, stock, and barrel. And corn, maize, is more karyogenic. It's more cavity producing in the sense it's a carbohydrate. It tends to be a sticky carbohydrate. And so one could wonder, for instance, if you have more cavities, if that means maybe you're longer in residence on that island.
Captain Gabriel Archer was a major figure in the early history of English America. He was a comrade of Bartholomew Gosnold, one of the prime movers of the Virginia enterprise, and he accompanied Gosnold on a voyage to New England in 1602 when they discovered and named Martha's Vineyard. He was involved in the first expedition to Virginia in 1607 when there was a good deal of arguing between the leaders and when he developed an early hostility to Captain John Smith. He was involved in the attempted assassination of Captain Smith in the fall of 1609, and also with packing off Smith to England in October. The irony is that Smith survives, but Gabriel Archer didn't. Not long afterwards, he was one of the more than 200 people who perished during the starving time in the fort at Jamestown. Archer was the second man to be buried in the chancel, along with a fragment of a captain's leading staff and a small enigmatic silver box, which is still being interpreted.